In the last year, I've been sizing up my board. I went from an 8.5, 8.7 to an 8.8, and I'm almost at 9 inches wide now. In this video, I'm going to set up a small board here at Heritage Skate Shop and see if it helps me skate better or if it's just a waste of money. So I got the Jacuzzi 8.5 sided, and this is Louis Barletta's new company. I've been wanting to get this board because it has the wheel wells in there too. I love my wheel wells. Homie over here was just talking about getting wheel bite. That's one way you can avoid it. That's a nice like flat black too. I'm excited. 8.5. I think that's going to be a pretty dramatic change. Thinking about getting the 8.35, but I think that was too much. We got some pepper grip too, which I actually really like this stuff. I had it last time on my other board. It's like just up in a way, but it doesn't crinkle up. It's like mob grip, but not as gritty. I'm gonna leave a little bit on the nose. You can see the front and the back. And I am gonna be setting lure pivs back on these all the way, like axle to axle. They are an 8.5, so this will be perfect for this board. My wheels might be a little bit under it, we'll see. Dwayne here at Heritage trimming onto these quantum bearings. I'm pretty excited. I've actually never tried these. The worst noise. I'm excited to go flip this thing. The sun's finally coming out too. I haven't skated anything at 8.5 or this small in like over a year. It's gonna be pretty interesting. Don't want to go too small because it might throw me off a little too much. The smallest change in deck size makes a big difference. See, it's got the little perforated holes so that you don't get air bubbles. These are apparently some new hollow hardware. Somebody else turned me on to these, and I figured since we're having a street setup board, might as well go with all the light things. Hardware doesn't seem like it's something that would weigh that much, so I'm really not too concerned about the weight, but I'm kind of curious to try them. See right through there. And it comes with the little Allen key. Now, I'm gonna have to remember which truck is front, which one is back, because I definitely do not remember. Now the real test is gonna be, do these trucks fit the 8.5 board? Because they are 8.5 axle to axle. What I want to see is just how they sit. Oh yeah, you get the wheels on there. The back's got a little more groove in there. I did skate these for quite a while. This is not the first time I skated them. This hardware is literally the perfect size. And these trucks are really light. And I've never been one to be too concerned about weight. I feel like street skaters are concerned about weight a little bit. A lighter board will make it easier for me to flip. Hoping I could set this board up and it will be a big motivator, big help. You don't always need new gear to do new tricks, but I figured, you know, in this situation, I'm gonna do it and just see if it makes a difference. Maybe you won't need to get new gear, and this experiment will prove that new boards don't do anything, or it will prove that it does do something. Hey, there's the advantage to the Allen head. And use it to poke our hardware holes. All right, it's looking good. I'm excited for this board. Sun's coming out there too while we get this set up. Both trucks are on there now. Oh my. Cool part is I didn't plan this, but I'm really hyped on this deck. Look at that thing. And we got the red 54 101 Formula 4 wheels. I just made a video about these wheel skating ditches and stuff, but we're gonna be putting these on here because they're 54 millimeter. I feel like they'd be perfect for street. Conical 101s. I know people don't like the 101s for street. I personally had a really good experience with them on rough ground out here in California. So, and got these new bearings. It's a skater-owned company too. Pretty cool. From here in the States. First time trying these. If you ever tried these, let me know down below. I think these are the cheapest versions they make. So they make like more quality versions. I just got the cheapest ones they had. It's kind of like comparable to a red, I believe. You can do black too, so you don't have to do purple. You can do black on the outside. You can switch them. I don't think it matters which way. Looks like there's shills on both. I guess we'll find out. Nice part about these is it does come with some extra washers too. I think washers are important, or I guess arguably these nuts have a little washer basically on them, so you don't need to technically use them, but I'll still do it just because it'll push the wheel out a little bit as well. And I do like my wheels to be even with my board. They look like they might be a little bit tucked under, and this will go to show you like basically to push your wheels out and put another one in there. You can put like 3, 4 in there as long as you have room to still screw your thread on. Getting those bearings in there. Pretty excited about this board. It's looking cool, like aesthetically, the black on the red with the red wheels. And I only rode these actually for like 2 weeks, so they're pretty much brand new. Something I just noticed, dude, these don't come with spacers. I never use spacers and bearings. I've mentioned it before. I don't think they're good, at least not for me. I think they get in the way. One more wheel. Wait, I lied. 2 more wheels. I got distracted. These bearings sound very, very, very smooth. There we go. All right, now it really is the last wheel. Woo! All right, everything's on there. It's looking proper. Looking good, sounds good, feels good. Gotta go test it out. All right, let's Put it on the ground, see how it feels. Oh my God. It's so much smaller, but not like ridiculous smaller, but I can definitely feel the difference. Whew. All right, I want to go ride it. We just got to Bishop Skate Park. This is Oceanside's Plaza Skate Park. Sort of. There's one other skate park in Oceanside that's not transitioned, but this is the main street area skate park. So we're gonna break the board in. I want to try some crooked grinds, some flip tricks, tray flips, things like that. The reason I wanted to do the smaller board is because everyone's been telling me I need a smaller board for the street tricks I've been trying to learn the last couple of months. I've been learning with my bigger board. I'm all about having one board that you can skate everything with, but obviously that's not realistic. So let's break it in. We got warmed up in the park. Now we're gonna try some flip tricks. I guess like, should I try a tray flip first or kick flip first?
Let's just start with the kick flips.
The kick flip's harder for me than a tray flip.
Oh.
Because like you get a smaller board, you'll be able to do it. I think you still have to have the skill to do it. So it's like, my problem is I don't flick it fast enough. So I think even the smaller board, it's supposed to be able to spin it, flick it fast enough, but I still think you need a technique.
Is there less effort though to spin it?
No, not right now. Feels like the same amount of effort, honestly.
Oh, that one looked good.
But yeah, it feels more controlled, I will say that. So it's not easier. I feel like I'm still exploding when I tray flip because I don't know how to do it very good. But it does feel more controlled.
And as for like from someone watching you kind of learn them,
yeah,
they're definitely popping higher. Than
that's the one
what
thing I don't notice too, because you said that same thing when I tried your smaller board. I think sometimes when I'm learning new tricks or like trying new tricks, I don't always necessarily actually know what's going on, and I get kind of more concerned with like landing or not landing it. So I think like sometimes it's hard to even tell like if a board or a product is even doing good or bad. So yeah, having you watch me and telling me, I think it really does help because solidifies things. Sometimes you're just like in your head too much. I never had hollow hardware, but I'm looking at the ground and I can actually see the ground when I'm riding right now.
That's true.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, that was good.
Thanks, dude. Now that I landed one, I will say it did seem a little easier.
Are you changing your foot placement, or have you been keeping it pretty much the same?
Keeping the foot placement the same as with the big board.
Yeah, I kind of would too, just for now.
And the goal, ultimately, with having a smaller board is so I can figure the trick out, so then I can go do it on a bigger or any size board. Ultimately, like you were saying, that's like, you learn a trick on a smaller board, but really you want to be able to like use any board. Oh.
Yeah.
3 modes.
Oh, dude. Oh, dude, it's so much more solid. There you go.
So yesterday was a really fun break-in session with the board, but the session did get cut short, so we're here at Prince Park. It's actually a transition park, but I'm excited to flip the board around a little more. I want to try a fakie tray flip today. It's something I've never done ever in my history of skateboarding. I've learned tray flips recently, a couple months ago, so I want to do a fakie tray flip today. I want to do some kick flips and maybe some switch shoves. I just really want to spin and flick the board because that's going to be the advantage, right? All right, we're going to start with just some regular tray flips, and then I'll try the fakie tray flip. Just see how long it takes me. Probably all of you before I tray flip. Huh? Also haven't skated at all today, so like I'm warming up when I'm doing this. It's kind of nice, like go straight into flip tricks, which is something that's hard for me to do. Woo-hoo! Tray flips are like that though, like you land the first one or get really close and then they get harder as you go on. I'm gonna do a different trick, fakie shove first. Oh, I love that trick. Ah. Ugh. Definitely feels like my board's coming around faster and it's getting back to the top quick, which is nice. It feels less of a huck. I'm not landing them every try, but I do feel like they're flicking faster. Like maybe I just need to commit to a few, but I feel like every time they're more consistent than they were with the bigger board. The smaller board is helping me. Ah. Ah. And it's funny because I've heard people say a fakie tray flip's actually easier, so I just want to try a few just to see how it feels. It's kind of scary because I feel like my legs are like in the way, but here's the first one. That is really scary. Trick's gonna be like just to commit and not go as fast as I'm going. Oh, I'm not gonna count that. Not quite. We're gonna get there. No, no. Shit. Wow. That was so sketchy. I just did a tray flip. I don't know if my camera filmed it, but I did a tray flip, slipped out, and knocked my camera over right away and slammed to the ground. Not only did I slam, but I watched my camera slam. It was like a double whammy. I gotta put my camera in a better position. I do really want to land this fakie tray flip. I've never done one, but it's feeling like it's almost there. I'm getting a little tired, so I gotta like be more deliberate with my tries. I can't just like throw them out there. I need to be more intentional. I hate going this slow, but I think this is the speed I need to go. Oh, first one. First one. I'm hyped. That speed helped. Oh, I don't think I've ever learned a trick and then did it another time, like right after, back to back. That's pretty crazy. All right, just to push our luck, let's see if I can do 3 back to back. New trick, new board. That's an accomplishment. It's a good feeling. Like, I just want to mention, like, when I'm making these videos, a board, it makes a difference. Like, honestly, product does make a difference, but ultimately experience is the best thing you need. So like, I can make videos about like my favorite trucks, my favorite wheels, board size, specs, all that stuff, but experience is the best thing for you in skateboarding. Like, really, you can ride any board. That's kind of the point that I'm getting at, but you do find some nuances and things that do help. I don't think I would have gotten the fakie tray flip as easy with the smaller board. So yeah, like, I just want to like add a disclaimer. Yes, I know product doesn't always help, but there's little tidbits where it does help. Ultimately, it's up to your experience and putting time in. Like, I was pretty reluctant though, to the point that I'm just saying, like, I was trying to learn kickflips. That's a whole video I'm making right now. I'll probably post that before this video. I'm not sure it'll be like one or the other, but I was having such a hard time getting the kickflip. At a certain point, like, I was doing them really good, and then all of a sudden I just couldn't flick them, and I was like, screw it, I'm gonna get the smaller board and help me. And like, I think just the idea of doing something to help you get out of the rut is helpful. So we got to try some grinds, because that's what I'm really curious about. Those crooked grinds yesterday were scary, so I do want to try some more grinds and just see if I can control them. And then I want to try to skate some transition, like spots that I normally skate with a small board, because it's really not that small. Like, I used to skate much smaller boards than this, and just see if I can adapt. Wow. So the other day I was dropping my buddy Matt off after doing some spot hunting, and then I stumbled upon this ledge just like driving down the street. But I am gonna try to stick to my street board today, or my smaller board. To me, it's gonna be really hard, because this is a spot where I would normally just ride my bigger board, my all-terrain board. But yeah, I'm gonna try to stick to the small board. Obviously I have the smaller trucks and everything, so it's a little harder. Woo! Funny is, Matt has the same size trucks that I have. He could grind it really easily, but I think that's just because he's used to it. I'm used to like holding my grinds and locking my grinds a lot differently. So that's something Spencer said recently too when I was trying crook. It's like, you got to balance it more. All right, I've had this board for a couple weeks now. The funny part is I barely done any board slides, and I think that's one thing to just talk about right away is the rails. Not having rails on has made me not want to board slide that much, because A, I don't want to destroy this graphic because it's so cool and that's so lame. Of course I will board slide it eventually, but the point is, like, rails actually do save your board. They make it last a lot longer. At least that's just my opinion. I didn't put rails on it because I did want it to be lighter. Let's jump into sort of if I think it's worth it. That's what I really want to discuss. Like, is it worth it getting a smaller board just so you can skate street? Is there enough advantages to having multiple setups? And I think there are advantages to having multiple setups. I have a slappy board, I have a lot of different boards, but as far as like a street board, a skinnier board, I don't think there's enough advantages for me. Before I go any further, I just want to say this is my subjective opinion. Remember, I love skating transition, big stuff, DIY. So for me, having the smaller board, the big advantage, the only advantage actually, I would say, is flip tricks. Never done a fakie tray flip. My tray flips were good, my kick flips were good. The flip tricks with the smaller board was a big advantage. And I would say that's actually the only advantage in my personal experience and opinion. So when it came to grinding, I hated grinding with the smaller trucks. And these are even smaller than 8.5 now that I'm actually looking at them underneath. So they're probably like good for an 8.3.5 board, honestly. I didn't measure them, probably should have measured them. But the point is, I think just having a skinnier truck was such a harder thing for me to get used to. And there's a big point to bring up right there is like getting used to anything. So whether you have a skinny board, a big board, or whatever it is, you're gonna adapt and get used to it. And that was one thing I wanted to see, like, could I adapt to this in a short time? Of course, if I like kept skating this board for months, eventually I'll be able to do every trick that I can do with my bigger board. And that's just how skating is. But do I think it's worth it for me? Probably not, because honestly I love flip tricks and I've been wanting to round out my skating. That's the one thing, it's a reason I've been learning more street tricks, learning crooked grinds, straight flips, K flips like that. It's just because I want to be able to do everything on a skateboard. I've been skateboarding my entire life pretty much, so it's like I don't want to just skate transition. That's the point of having a smaller board, but I just feel like it's so limiting. Like I could do flip tricks with it. Beyond that, there's not much I can do with it. I don't feel comfortable skating even my mini ramp, big transitions, slappy curves. I was actually out at a street spot with my friend Spencer recently with some slappy curbs, and I was doing this line and I just felt like I wasn't really stable on the smaller board. So even doing an ollie and going fast and swerving around, like the smaller board just felt, you know, very foreign. Again, there's this margin of like getting used to it, but immediately I was just like, you know what, I want to ride my bigger board. And I think mainly I'll go into a point right now, that was because I had more fun on my bigger board. So like, yeah, a smaller board is going to help me. It's going to be easier to flip trick, but at the core of it, like, am I having more fun or less fun? Like, yeah, someone could say landing tricks is more fun than not landing tricks, but ultimately it's up to you. So in my opinion, I think it was really cool. It helped me flip my board a lot more. Will I even be getting a smaller board like an 8.3.5? I honestly don't think so. I'm not sure. I think the 8.5 is really nice. If I got an 8.3.5, it'd honestly be just for flip tricks. I don't think I'm doing enough flip tricks just to have a whole additional board. Although I really did enjoy skating a lot of flat ground with this skinny board, and I'm sure I will skate more flat ground with it, and there's advantages to it. Of course, if I went even more narrow, there'd be more advantages to the flip trick. I'd probably get my board around a lot faster and stuff like that. So that's my general consensus basically on having a smaller board. It's worth it if you like doing flip tricks. If you're like me, like skating everything else besides flip tricks, honestly, at the end of the day, flip tricks for me kind of fall into the wayside. Like, of course I want to be able to flip my board and do things like that, but I still would much more prefer to be able to backsmith the slappy curve or invert the big pull than flip my board. So at the end of the day, yeah, I want to flip my board, but I'm not going to be investing more money into an even smaller board just so I can flip it more and make it easier. I think the one thing I did notice, I was able to like get tray flips and pop things higher. And I think that allowed me to figure out the trick where then I can go actually ride my bigger board. So, I mean, the whole point of this experiment was to try a smaller board. I get a lot of comments about like how if I had a smaller board, some of these tricks would be a lot easier. And yes, I do agree. The tricks become easier, but whether or not I'm having fun or not having fun, I think that depends on the session. So I enjoyed it. I don't think I'll go down much smaller. As far as jacuzzi board, it's good. I'm really loving it. I got to skate it some more. The wheel wells are so nice. The wood is really good. I love the graphic. As far as like the actual shape goes, I do wish the tail was a little bit lower. It's a little bit of a steep tail for me. I like a little bit of a mellow tail. The nose is nice. It's a pretty big nose. It's not like hockey or anything like that. But again, it is a mellow nose. So it's a mellow nose and kind of a steep tail. At least that's how I take away from it. This is the tail, this is the nose. So yeah, I wish the tail was a little more mellow. But again, that comes down to the type of skating that I like to do. Jacuzzi dudes, I feel like are pretty tech. But yeah, overall the board's pretty good. It's nothing extremely special. Like I didn't like it as much as I do like polar boards, but hope y'all have a good day. Mash.